Yeah, I have yes. They were given one penny, but they were obligated to pick something character and so I found them. That builds your point. So when I wanted to do I'll take our seats. We'll get started here. Roll call.
Adirondack County, Luke Jones, Bethel Meter, Margaret Wilson, Fulton County, Jennifer Elmendorf, Hughes, Jack Farquhar, Mark Bennell, Michael Tracy,
Yeah.
Mark Souza,
Yep.
Hamlin County, Joyce Melides excused, Phil Melidi present, Susan Franco excused, Gary Wicks excused. Montgomery County, Thomas Pasquarelli. Here. Michael Swartz. Here. Fisher Green. Tony Agresta. Here. Eagle County, Sid Chase. Here. Elizabeth McGowan. Here. Dr. Markowitz. Here. Ada Wygan. Ada Wygan. Richard Kirschman. Here. Schoharie County, Ed Brand. Here. Bill Beavers. Here. Ed Cohen-Brand.
He's working.
He's working today.
He had to work today so he could get his kid married Saturday.
Oh. Dr. Buckwell Valois. Yes. Ben Louch. Here. Mark Zeke. Present. Dr. Leinhardt is excused. Sir, we have a quorum. And then some. Enough for 2 meetings.
Thank you very much. Well, welcome one and all. We also have some guests.
We have a bunch of guests today, I'm happy to say. We have John McMillan from GAVAC. We have Mike Hartzell from the Schoharie County Office of Emergency Management. Ryan Hanel from Stanford Ambulance. Joe and Mary from New York State, the Dark Side. New York State Dark Side. Bill Dunham is here. Deb Cups is here. Roy Sweet and Country Sweet from Fulton County Ambulance. Margaret McGowan is here. Karen Taddeo is here. Rick Knapp. Tim Forster from the Oneonta Fire Department. Almost said Oneonta State, I'm sorry. Oneonta Fire Department. State Oneonta. Dean Romano is here from Remo. Well, we can't hold that against him. Joe Cazzola is here, and I mentioned Ryan Hanel from Stanford, and Davis Warner, the Hamlin County EMS Coordinator. Welcome one and all. Did I leave anybody out? If I did, it was inadvertent. Did I leave anyone out? Yes.
Chuck Barringer from Sydney.
I'm sorry, say it again. Chuck Barringer. I'm sorry, Chuck. Chuck Barringer from Sydney Emergency Squad is here. And welcome indeed. Welcome to one and all.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. All right. So we need
approval of the minutes of May 19th.
Of our minutes from our last meeting.
The last official meeting we had was May 19th. So we are seeking, since in June we did not have a voting quorum, we are seeking approval for the minutes of the May 19th meeting.
Do we have a motion? Motion's been made. Do we have a second? Second. That's it.
That's it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Correspondence, we have quite a bit of it.
We have 3 months worth of very active correspondence.
Never run through there.
Copies given out to everyone.
Okay. All right. So, yes. In the past, most of the time I don't get much of a report. Lots of times the material's already been covered or common knowledge. And so in essence of time, I haven't given a report. But I'm no longer eligible to serve as a representative from Delaware County, and so no longer be eligible to this position after today. I've got a few thoughts. EMS. I've seen a lot of changes in EMS. I've been in EMS, involved in it, almost as long as some other people. But not quite, but longer than some. It has been a pleasure and an honor for me to serve with this region, and especially as the position of chair. I have learned a lot. I've met a lot of interesting people. But as I think about EMS and I think about all the changes I've seen, and I think about some of the things that I think that we should have done different, not here as a council, but EMS as a whole, mainly, the powers that be, and what the rules that we have to follow. We have to remember, with all these changes that have come and gone, and all the changes that are in the future, that the premise of EMS is still to take care of ill and injured people. And that premise isn't going to change too much. But as Tom and I were talking earlier today, there are going to be a lot of changes, and if we don't adapt to them, if we don't work with them, we're going to be left out in the cold somewhere. If you think about EMS, you think about the expanded scope of practice that a lot of states have gone to, and I believe New York State is looking at it, correct? It's not going to be transporting everybody to the hospital all the time. You may be taking them to a doctor's office, or maybe just going in and examining a patient and saying this is what you ought to do, and not transporting. But with those changes, I think that we have to look at progress. And when I think of progress, I think back in my year of 7th grade, and my one teacher always said, progress is a change. And if the change isn't an improvement, then it's not progress. But what we need is, we need to continue to progress forward. You can't progress any other way. If it's any other way, it's not progress, it's regress. There's a few things that I have been thinking about quite a lot, and looking at it. Some of the things that we've addressed, and it's gotten better. I think on an agency level, one of the biggest things we have to remember is to remind agencies of what the role and responsibility of the medical director is. There are still medical directors of agencies, especially small agencies, who do not participate at all in the operation of EMS. They don't attend meetings, they don't attend training sessions. Their name is on the paper as the medical director, and that's about it. That's something that really needs improvement, especially if it's an ALS agency, that these medical directors have to understand that the ALS people are working under their medical license. And so that's one thing we need to change. One of the things that has taken place over the years is having to have a basic EMT on every ambulance. I have disagreed with that from the get-go, because I don't think that if somebody that's got chronic low back pain or chronic knee pain, I don't think it's necessary to, especially for some of these small agencies, to have to sit there and they can't get an EMT and can't get the ambulance off the floor, so they have to call mutual aid for it. My personal opinion is transport the patient to the ER, with a first responder. But my personal opinion, we can't change that. The state won't let us. Some of the things we can do as a body here, we can appeal to the state to increase the funding in EMS. Let's face it, with the changes that we've seen in our structure in our nation, and the increase of the minimum wage and all that, we're going to have people that are working, flipping burgers someplace, that are going to be making more than people that are going out there taking care of patients. And the core sponsors should be able to pay a better wage, and that's got to come through from the funding for the state. So that's something that we need to work on and petition our representatives. CMEs. In today's technology, CMEs and EMS courses, I think, could be taught a lot more efficiently by online training. Most of the training that you do right now in EMS, all the lectures you can go to, there's no reason why that couldn't be done online. There would still have to be times where the students would need to go to a classroom for practical application, stuff like that, and again for practical exams. But online could be done, it would be very efficient. At the end of each session, there could be a small exam where the CIC could look at that exam, look at the results from each student, and judge from there how well they're grasping the subject. So again, that's something else that we need to participate, and we need to push our state for it. The other thing about the training is, I can remember years ago in Delaware County, they had classes all over the place. It's just not feasible anymore. But when you look at the weather that we have had in the past few years, some of our winters have been very mild, some of our winters are pretty tough. And to have people have to travel, some of them 30, 35 miles to get to a training site when they could be sitting in their home doing this on a computer, makes a lot more sense to me. It would also allow the students a little bit more time to dedicate to studying, to reading, and stuff like that, and not having to drive back and forth. The other thing that I was thinking about is this agency here. There have been a lot of changes here, and we have been very progressive. The IPCRs, the communications have improved greatly. I mean, now you look at our ALS providers, when they go online in this region, they take an exam online. They don't have to drive any place to do it. We've done a lot of work here in this region. There's a lot more work to do. The upcoming proposed changes for Article 30, I think we're going to see a lot of changes regional-wide and of course statewide. But I guess to sum it all up, I would just say that we've done a good job. People at this table, people who have been here in the past, and people in the future, I expect them to continue doing the good work. And we have to still remember that our premise is to take care of patients. So I would thank you for indulging me. I thank you for allowing me to be in this position as long as I've been here. And you guys are like a big family to me, and so I'm still going to come up and visit you once in a while. And I know that you'll continue to work towards our goal, which is better patient care and better training for our EMS providers. So thank you very much.
We have some, before we get to present business, we have to deal with business that would normally have been brought before the council at our June 16th meeting, at which time we did not have a voting quorum. So the following business is matters that we have to take care of, since June is our annual meeting by bylaw, and we weren't able to do so in June. So bear with me as we go through this short list. A letter has been received from JVAC advising that they're changing their EPCR vendor from Fort Holdings IPCR to AmbuPro EMS. And I would make a motion that we accept that and approve that change. Do I have a second for that?
Yep.
Sid.
Motion's been made and seconded. Everyone understand the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Very good.
We had been asked by the Cooperstown Emergency Squad in Otsego County to approve their use of EPCRs, and normally we would have voted on that June 16th, which we weren't able to, or today. However, we received a letter from them on September 1st that they had withdrawn their request and have withdrawn their request to the state of New York. So that's a moot point, but I just mentioned it because we did receive that communication. It's time to approve the renewal of the course sponsorship for the regional council, which we were able to do over the summer under our continuing resolution. But I just mentioned it now, and to formalize it, I would like to make a motion that the course sponsorship for our regional council, which is a specialty sponsor for instructor level courses only, I'd like to make a motion that it
second? Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained?
On May 31st, we received a request from Rural Metro to change the EPCR software from the current Zoll system to the AMR Med system. AMR has now assumed control of Rural Metro. This is a formality, but I'd like to make a motion that we accept this change and approve it.
Do we have a second? Second? Motion been made. Seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained?
It's time to approve the renewal of our medical director agreement. The motion, this is the motion. Resolved that the agreement with Dr. William Fisher to serve as AAREMS Regional Medical Director is renewed for the period from July 1st, 2016 through June the 30th, 2017, under the same terms and conditions as the present agreement. Dr. Fisher is fully in agreement with that. I'd like to make that motion.
Second? Made and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed or abstained?
Now, time to consider renewal of the office lease agreement. The resolution would read as follows. Resolved that the AAREMS office lease agreement with the Speculative Volunteer Ambulance Corps is renewed for the period from July 1, 2016 to June 30th, 2017 under the same terms and conditions as the present agreement, with the continued lease fee of $5,400 per year. And since I am a member of the ambulance corps, even though I have no pecuniary interest in this, I would ask that somebody else make that motion.
I'll make that motion. Continue.
A second? Second for Pat. Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed or abstained?
I will abstain, and once again, for the record, I have no pecuniary interest in it, but I do not wish the appearance of impropriety. It is also time for the renewal of our storeroom rental agreement. State records need to be generated and need to be reserved for periods of time. The lessor continues to be Grant Brothers Incorporated, so I would like to make a motion that the storeroom rental agreement with Grant Brothers is continued, at the annual fee of $1,800, which is the previously accepted term, previously accepted fee, and under the previously accepted terms and conditions.
Do we have a second? Made and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed or abstained? Carried.
Thank you. And now to present business. On June the 19th, we received word that the Gloversville Fire Department first responders had used BLS Narcan successfully. The patient was a 35-year-old male who was transported to the hospital by ambulance services in the county. As of June 30th, there were 10 AAREMS-based agencies enrolled in the EPI demonstration project being conducted by the University of Rochester Medical School. On June 29th, we were provided with an update on the project statistics, and they were shared with all our agencies. And just yesterday, I received an email from the University of Rochester Medical School advising that several agencies in the region had not completed the necessary paperwork, in some cases to verify their tax status, whether they were tax exempt or not, and in other cases, their pre-test and or post-test had not been submitted. I spoke with several of the agency representatives today between meetings, and they advised that in some cases the materials had been sent. So if you have any questions, I have these printouts from University of Rochester here. If you have any questions about your paperwork, I can give you a copy of this. And if they contact you directly, by all means, deal with them appropriately, resend the email as the case may be. Sometimes there is an extraordinary volume of paperwork coming into them for this project. It has really blossomed statewide, mainly in response to the ballooning price of EpiPens. And so if they have misplaced your paperwork, I'm sure that resending it by email will take care of the situation. On July 12th, a secure fax line was activated in our regional office. That's being paid for by the speculator ambulance, by the way. It's very inexpensive. A secure fax line was activated, may be used whenever confidential information is to be transmitted. It is fully HIPAA compliant as regards patient confidentiality. This is all going to be in the minutes, but just reading it now is a point of information. To utilize the service, it's only necessary to dial 1-518-252-4793 on the transmitting fax device, and you proceed as usual in sending a fax. It comes in as a secure PDF, encrypted and unencrypted at our end, and it has been working out extremely well in transmitting PCR documentation. So you can send PCRs and all confidential patient care information without any redaction at all. You can send it right to our office.
Won't be hacked.
I can't, Lou just asked, would it be hacked by the Russians? And of course, we can't guarantee that until after the elections are over in November. We can't guarantee that they don't have anything. Yes. On July 22nd, we were advised of an AED used by the Unadilla Fire Department. The patient was a 57-year-old male who unfortunately did not respond to resuscitative efforts. On September 2nd, we received a memo from Mr. Johnson at the Department of Health via Mr. Farrell and Ms. Ramos stating that ALS providers cannot be credentialed to practice based solely on their on-site scoring results. They must wait until official word is received from DOH that they are certified at their new level of practice. We discovered this morning that this ruling is in controversy at the health department level. So we are waiting for further clarification from the director of the EMS Bureau. On July 15th, we received a letter from the Delaware County EMS Advisory Board advising they had nominated Joseph Cazzola and Ryan Hanel to the Regional Council effective October 1st, and that they were reappointing Margaret Wilson to the council as well. They further advised that Mr. Jones's appointment is not being renewed at this time. I would like to make a motion that we accept the appointments of, accept the nominations of Joe Cazzola and Ryan Hanel effective October 1st, and accept the fact that, accept with regret the fact that Joe Jones is not being reappointed. So that is my motion.
So Joe will elect himself January.
So January.
Right, so Ryan is finishing out Lou's, and then Joe takes it back to Lee Jackson.
I will amend that motion that, perhaps you can amend that for me. So I get it right, so I write it down right.
So January 1st will be Joe Pizzola and myself, and then after October 1st is Ryan.
All right, okay, corrected. Everybody understand that motion?
Motion been made, is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Welcome aboard.
We have notice of enforcement action. 3 received over the summer months. I believe they all were received over the summer. We didn't have any received in time for our June meeting, which was a non-meeting anyway. We have an individual from Brooklyn, New York. This will all be in our written minutes. It is a matter of public record. This is not a confidential issue. An individual from Brooklyn, New York, one from Fredonia, New York, and one from the Bronx, New York. And that is well represented. And that, sir, is my report. What's that?
Thank you very much. Moving into a treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report. You will see in the minutes when they are generated for you on Monday, hopefully on Monday, you'll see a full report from the period from May 19th through June 15th, and then also for the period June 16th through September 14th. And for that period, we have the financial statements available for handouts today. On June the 30th, we forwarded to the Department of Health the quarterly program agency contract deliverables, voucher, and expenditure report for the period from April 1 through June 30th. The voucher was in the amount of $39,767.28. On the same date, we also forwarded the quarterly council contract voucher and expenditure report for that same time frame. That voucher was in the amount of $1,781.91. These items were forwarded by email as per the new DOH regulations in this regard. Makes it very much simpler. The quarterly council contract deliverables for this quarter was sent to the DOH on July 5th. On July 15th, the check was received for payment in full. So the new system of online forwarding of materials is working extremely well. A printed report of the cash flow and balance sheet was distributed to all of our members. And they also received detailed cash flow balance sheets and register reports, plus copies of the canceled checks as per the review agreements with our auditors. And our audit is scheduled for the middle of October, by the way, our yearly audit. As soon as the report is received, I'll send that out to all of our members routinely. The members of the committee receiving the reports, their report is...
Yes, we agree.
Yeah? Great.
Everything appears in order.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, we need a motion to accept the treasurer's report presented. Motion second. Motion made and seconded to accept the treasurer's report presented. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed or abstained?
I will abstain as a staff member.
Committee reports, anything on program agency?
I do not.
Anything from training?
For training, I'm sorry that Joyce cannot be here today. Her arthritis is kicking up a little due to some little substantive changes in the weather. Who was referring to the weather before. Over the last couple of days, it's been a little bit cold and damp, and unfortunately, she was a little stiff and sore today, so she sends her regrets that she's not able to be here. Our teaching day is going forward for October 29th. I have some other flyers for it also. Joyce and Deb Cuff will be the presenters, and it's going to be should be absolutely fascinating about infection control, and including a great deal about mandatory requirements for agencies regarding infection control. Requirements that many of our collegial agencies do not understand in full or at all. So I encourage you to consider talking to somebody or talking to your agency and having somebody attend. It's going to be well worthwhile. Now, we are asking the health department to consider this as an instructor update. We will advise you if they do that in the affirmative. If they consider it an instructor update, then attendance will satisfy your tri-yearly requirement if you are an instructor. On October 29th, right here, beginning at 8 o'clock in the morning, and there is a fee that we charge just so we don't go in the red on it. The fee includes breakfast, lunch, afternoon snacks, and all the handouts. And if you bring a flash drive with you, Joyce and Deb will have some very good information to take back to your agency that they can put on a flash drive over here. That's my training committee report, sir. Transportation and standards. Let me ask if the stenographer is ready yet.
Be ready in about 1 minute.
1 minute? Okay, very good. We will be glad to wait 1 minute. Transportation and Standards Committee of the Adirondack-Appalachian Regional Emergency Medical Services Council in the matter of the proposed transfer of operating authority. On June 13th, 2016, we received a notice from bankruptcy court announcing the sale of certificate of need documents with regard to the bankruptcy of TransCare Ambulance. The mailing was informational only and was shared with Mr. Brandt and Mr. Clayton at the Department of Health. On August 29th, we received information from Mr. Clayton on the secure email transmission of CON-related paperwork to our Health Commerce Systems account. On August 30th, we received an electronic submission of transfer of authority paperwork from the attorney for the buyer of the TransCare Operating Authority license for the territory that includes Delaware County. On August 31st, we received a hard copy of this material plus a check in the amount of $2,000 as the established counsel fee. On August 31st, we forwarded the material to Mr. Clayton at the Department of Health via Secure Health Commerce System account file transfer, together with a request for a fitness and competency review in the matter. On September 1st, the material was forwarded to the members of the committee for their review, with appropriate redactions having been made in accordance with DOH policy for no secure transfers. On September 2nd, the material was forwarded to all council members, once again with appropriate redactions. On September 12th, we received written advisement from Mr. Clayton that there appears to be no bar to fitness and competency. I will read the letter that I received on September 12th. Addressed to Mr. Lewis Jones, Adams Council, P.O. Box 212, Main Street, Speculated, New York 12164, regarding a statement of fitness and competency. Dear Mr. Jones, the AAREMS Council has requested that the Department of Health Bureau of Emergency Medical Services complete a fitness and competency review of the following entity and individuals. Ambulans, I spell A-M-B-U-L-N-Z, Ambulans NY2 LLC, Rachel Smedra, Stan Vashovsky, and Andre Oberholzen. Based on the department's investigation and review, there appears to be no bar to the fitness and competency as defined in Article 30, Section 3005.8 of the New York State Public Health Law of the aforementioned entities and individuals. This determination is based on the information provided to the department and information contained in the public record. Please feel free to contact this office if you have any questions regarding this matter or if I can be of assistance in any way. Respectfully, Daniel J. Clayton, DSEMTP, Deputy Director for Operations and Emergency Preparedness, New York State Bureau of EMS and Trauma Systems, 875 Central Avenue, Albany, New York, 12206. Copies of this letter were sent to Karen Taddeo, Esquire, representing the buyer in this transfer of authority, and to myself. According to Mr. Clayton, there appears to be no bar to the taking of the roll call vote at this time in this matter. I would therefore like to make the following motion. Resolved that the application of TC Hudson Valley Ambulance, doing business as TransCare, to transfer existing service operating authority to Ambulans NY2 LLC is approved. This is therefore a motion on the floor requiring a second before discussion can take place.
We have a second?
Seconded by Mr. Chase. There is now a period for discussion of this issue.
I'd just like it on the record that I only heard about this yesterday when I was at the state CMAC in Semsko and received the emails from contacted Bill and received the emails. So if any of my questions are contained in the packet, I apologize. I've not had time to review it. One thing noted, when I have looked at the packet, the affirmation of fitness and competency for each individual, it does say, yes, emergency medical service certified by the New York State Department of Health or equivalent in any other states. And it says that there should be an attached page for each one of the fitness and competencies that says the name of the agency or facility, mailing address of the facility or agency, name or certifying license or authority, if applicable, a copy of license, certificate, or identification number, and individual positions held with start and end dates. That is not in the application for the 3 individuals that fitness and competency has been established for. Furthermore, I would like to, this is a new agency to our region. Yes.
It is in the application. There's a copy of the license. There's an organizational chart that shows the positions held and the dates of positions that were held, and it shows that the subject license was received from Orange County, California in April of 2016. It's all in the attachment. I mean, it wasn't all smashed together in one piece of paper. No, it's all in the attachment.
Okay. This is going to be a new, this is not a need-based application, this is a transfer. This is going to be a new entity holding the certificate that's not previously operated in our region. What is the business plan for their operation in our region? Is anybody able to speak to that?
What you'll find in the statement of purpose and intent is ambulance and line 2 position that they are going to operate in accordance with all rules, regulations, protocols. Do they have a firm plan for Delaware County yet? Nor do they need to. This has come before and our policies stated that you don't have to have a plan going in yet because they don't know if there is any place for them to operate. They don't know what the volunteer companies need in terms of support. They don't know what the backup is. They plan to operate in accordance with rules, regulations, and laws.
So just real quickly, I want to interject. When you do talk, the stenographer is going to need your name, so if you could just kind of...
Elizabeth McGowan.
I'm Karen Daniel, I'm the attorney for the purchaser.
There's also a sheet going around, Tom, to make it easier for her.
Any other discussion?
I have it over here. My question is, in speaking with the people that function in that area, this certificate has been dormant for at least 20 years. I would be curious to know how this is going to affect the people in that area and the people that are providing the service currently in that area. Is that going to affect their service to the point where they can't provide?
I'm going to respond again to Karen Daniel. The certificate is not renewed. The rule is under 3010-4. Operator must cease operation, not within any portion of its territory, but within the territory in its totality. To do otherwise would be a real slippery slope, because if you have a countywide CON, and you stopped operating in a village for more than 30 days, does that mean you lose your right to provide service in the village? My understanding, and I've got a letter from Lee Burns, if I only have 15 copies of it, or 12 copies if you want it. Her position, the department's position, is if a service has operated anywhere within its territory. Because remember, you're not transferring little pieces of territory. Look at 3010. You're transferring a certificate. A certificate contains a primary operating territory. That's what you're transferring. If they've operated anywhere in their territory, it keeps the validity of the certificate for the
Elizabeth McGowan. How, they declared bankruptcy in February.
Yes.
How are they operating, and is it not, would it not be dormant at that point?
If anyone wants, I have copies of the management agreement that's been in place between the trustee and senior care to lease employees and to provide services. I also have copies of redacted PCRs for every month since bankruptcy. This trustee was very adamant about keeping every certificate alive because they're assets of a debtor's trust. And the money that comes from these purchases goes to pay debts. So he was very adamant. Senior care did operate, have the management agreement with the dollar amounts redacted. I only have one copy from here to the chair. I have copies of PCRs showing continuous operation under 0667, which was a certificate.
Any other discussion or question?
Thomas Pascarelli. Karen, you said there is a business plan or is not?
The business plan that's in place is to operate in accordance with the laws, rules, and regulations. They haven't been here yet. They haven't assessed any needs where they can fit in. They know that they purchased a certificate in bankruptcy that allows them to operate should they decide to. And if they never decided to, we still can't take it away from them. They do not have a firm plan on operating in Delaware County. If they fit in, they will. If they don't fit in, it may continue the way it's been for a while. And I don't know, in terms of TransCare's operation, whether or not they have or have not set foot in Delaware County. I know that they were servicing some of the Hasidic camps that I don't know if they're all the way into Delaware County or the neighboring counties. I know they're providing standby for those types of events. So when people say that they haven't operated here, I don't know that they haven't been here. And as far as I know, and I checked yesterday, the Department of Health has never revoked their right to operate here, or suspended it, or annulled it, or done anything else. So what I have is I have a certificate that says it's good for another 2 years. I have a purchaser. I have a federal bankruptcy court saying the certificate is valid in its primary territory. And I see no ability on the part of anyone to divide up a certificate and pass part and not pass part. Because as I was talking to some people beforehand, if we could divide certificates and sell parts or alienate parts, we would have done it. You all have seen me here before years ago when one of my former clients purchased a certificate that it would have loved to have sold that territory later, and we weren't allowed to. So a certificate is a certificate, a territory is a territory.
Any other
Margaret,
questions?
I think Margaret.
Yes.
In 2002, my name is Margaret McGowan, McGown. In 2002, the state did allow the partitioning of a certificate. In 2002, when TC Hudson Valley, and this is all information I've received by email from a member of the Department of Health. The service by the name of Hudson Valley Ambulance was sold to Community Medical Transport in the mid-90s. CMTI's parent corporation, Laidlaw, drove its business into oblivion and they ceased operating, whereupon the operating authority was bought by TransCare Group and put into a corporation named TC Hudson Valley Ambulance Corp. When the transfer was voted by the regional EMS councils having jurisdiction, the Hudson Mohawk Council denied transfer of that portion of the operating certificate. I'm sorry, that portion of the operating authority that was within its region, specifically the territory described within Columbia County and Greene County. The department concurred with the council's assertion that the authority being transferred had not provided ambulance service to Columbia or Greene counties for a significant period of time, well in excess of 30 days. However, the department permitted the remainder of the territory to be transferred to the new owners. The newly created Westchester Remsco, Hudson Valley Remsco, and Adirondack-Appalachian Remsco all approved the transfer. So a certificate has been taken apart in 2002.
And I'll give you the testimony of Lee Burns to the regional council, because it has to be remembered, quote, Lee is Lee, and maybe it didn't communicate it clearly in the minutes, but that was the basis, in my opinion, of abstention, because we didn't feel that we should even be having citizen conference hearing, because they didn't have a right to assume operating certificate. They had ceased operations in 2000 entirely. CMTI went out of business. It stopped entirely. We're talking, this transcript is 02, years earlier. And what the reports from Richard Coutant, who was then in-house counsel to Ed Ronsky, and to Transcare said was that since the whole business had ceased operations, they had ceased operations everywhere, the regional councils had an additional ability. You don't have that here. They have not ceased operations everywhere. Transcare, if you remember CMTI, Dean Sloan, he tried to sell it to somebody in Canada, then he tried to do something else. I get some nods if you remember Dean. They just didn't operate. They stopped. And they didn't bother to apply to the department for continuance or any kind of exception during the pendency of any sale. They notified the department that they stopped operations. So what the ruling was, is each regional council could deny or approve it, because each regional council had, the whole thing had been locked up, the whole thing had been shut down. That's not what you have here. What you have here is fitness and conference. And I only have one copy of this, but if you want it, it's the complete foil of the file in the CMTI transfer.
I have a question. My name is Joe Zola, representing Hancock EMS. So you're saying now that the certificate, they can just only operate whenever. Okay. Being part of Sullivan County for a couple of years, I've seen that certificate be dormant, that they don't, Transcare, I'll just start naming names, that's all what it is. Transcare never came into Sullivan County. And then one day they came into Sullivan County and tried to operate. And they operate. After some time, disrupting of services, fighting, splitting the pie so many ways, agencies fought behind themselves, trying to billing and all that, they left. I remember Delaware County, don't want to see that.
I don't blame you.
I understand what you're saying, we operate, so they're going to try to operate in, I'm just making up stuff now. If they're going to operate in New York City, that's fine. Westchester, that's fine. Anywhere else. So they're going to come, they have activity in anywhere they want, and they can come in and out anytime they want. Disrupting the flow of commercial services, private services, trying to make money, whatever. And then when they don't make enough money or whatever, they're going to pull out and relocate. That's the part I don't want to see ever again. I understand what you're saying.
And I understand your position, and I think Margaret McGowan has been the biggest proponent for adhering to the law that I've ever met. And advocating to change the law. I mean, come on, Margaret and I have been here together on this stuff in front of you. I understand your concern. You've got to change the law. What the law is right now says a certificate is a certificate. It transfers kit and caboodle. Change the law. Talk to Mark Zeke and get on the committee to change 0606. But right now, the law's the law.
Oh, I understand the law, but I'm just explaining. I'm just saying, this, like the person in the room. This is what it's going to come down to. Opening up Delaware County, we're going to start splitting the pie. There ain't going to be enough money, and people are going to suffer from a larger company coming in and trying to disrupt services. I understand they got the territory. They're going to do it. It's going to pass no matter what we do. We can't stop it. But I'm going to be. I'm
These gentlemen and ladies, Ms. Smedra and the gentleman, are reasonable. You've got concerns. I'll give you their phone numbers. Call them up and talk to them about your concerns.
When $30 million on the table, they're out for one thing, a problem.
30 million?
whatever the money is, whatever millions of dollars are gonna be talking, we're talking millions here. They're not doing this because they go, hey, you know what, let's leave Delaware alone, let's leave these people alone. No, they're in to make money, because if you're gonna be shelling out millions of dollars to run a corporation, and they're from where? Orange County?
Their latest acquisition was in Orange County. I don't know if you guys got these resumes and stuff and how redacted they were. Stan is actually a volunteer paramedic down in New York City. His background is, he's one of the people who created those portals, those patient portal things, so that information can, what Phil is so happy about, the secured portals, you can send information everywhere. He created that through a mailer company. But he's been a paramedic. He let his car lapse in 2014, he's certified. But he's been a volunteer for years, 20 I think. So he's from New York City. Andre's from
I guess my point is, I understand that,
yeah.
they're here to make money.
Talk to him.
Yes, ma'am.
Margaret McGowan, I'm gonna reiterate Beth's concern that all of this information that you're saying about these people is not in the application.
It is, it's in their
There is
resume.
no, well, let me put it this way. What was transmitted to the members did not include the attachments of the pieces of paper that are required with their application. The word in there is required.
And they were submitted, and that, I
Did
can't.
anyone here get them that says what each?
Did you get resumes?
No.
I transmitted to our committee and then to all of our members everything that I received from the state.
They did not get resumes that were required. The language on the form says required.
I have no problem showing you exactly.
I'm not,
Well, we put the resumes in, we put the certificate attached to it.
I'm saying that these people, we're asking people to vote on something where they did not get the information.
Well,
And I think it is required, if you look at the language on each one of those applications, it says that that information is required. It doesn't say it's optional.
Okay, and
So I think trying to find a vote on something that none of these people have even seen is not reasonable.
okay, notwithstanding that, who does the fitness and competency review? The state.
The state.
The state said they got it. The state did the fitness and competency.
But these people are required to vote on it.
Right.
These people are the bottom line vote.
I'm gonna ask Phil whether or not he's gotten this stuff, because this is what we sent, and this is what you sent to the state.
Right, everything that I received from the state, Karen, I transmitted to our members. What we are voting precisely on today, with all due respect to Margaret and the others, what we are voting on precisely today is the information contained in the letter from Mr. Clayton that I read into the record, stating that the State Department of Health EMS Bureau finds that this information is complete, and they are advising us that this information is complete.
This is supposed to be there's a certificate, there's sworn affidavits, their resumes on here. I don't know what happened. I don't know whether they went wrong. Is that mine here? Housing and services.
Yeah.
It was sent.
Everything that I received from the state was transmitted to our members,
Unless
to
they
our committee, and to all of our
unless they
members.
kept-
And obviously, the state itself had received all this information, even if for some reason they didn't send all of it to me. But we have received this letter from Mr. Clayton, and that is what we are basing our discussion and vote on today.
So in other words, the regional council is just going to is being asked to rubber stamp the department's position without providing the information.
Well, my understanding again from the Department of Health is that the function of the regional council in these matters of transfer of authority is merely to receive the information, ask the state for fitness and competency review, and then proceed based on what the state tells us following that review.
So, well, I think that is the case in certain cases. However, sitting in state council and on the state council and going to the systems committee, that is not what the state wants us to do. The state wants us to sit here and ask questions, how these things are going to affect our area. They only want to do this when it's big business coming in, and they want to rubber stamp it. I do think that it's important to know how it is going to affect our area. At the end of the day, we are going to be, or New York State EMS is going to be left mopping the mess up should there be a change. Again, we don't even know if there is a change. It would be nice that somebody from this company was here to just say, and to have an answer, well, they haven't looked at Delaware
I
County.
gave you that answer. I speak on behalf of the company. I am their legal representative. I'm their attorney in fact.
But you said that they haven't even been to Delaware County to scope it out to see if they're
Right,
going to
correct.
operate. I think that that's important.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And that was my question, I know what's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. You can say no or yes, but frankly what's gonna happen is they might not come in today, they might not come in tomorrow, but when they do come in, or they feel the need to come in or make business sense decisions, it's gonna affect the area. So have they made, my question to you, and that is, have they made any other arrangements or inquiries of other areas that they want to work in? Say, the territories in New York City, have a plan there?
They didn't buy New York City in
Wherever,
in the bank.
so wherever,
They bought they bought East Hudson Valley license.
so what are they planning to do there then?
They're going to operate.
Right, so they're gonna challenge everyone else's operating ones in there?
They're not challenging them. They're taking over somebody
I'm
else's
sorry,
existing
you're right,
one.
not challenging,
See,
fighting.
the problem is
same
we're getting
business.
very far from what the role of the council in here, which is citizen council. I don't know what the, on this, Mark, I don't.
I'm just saying that if this.
Even
council-
if you had had this, the portions of the resumes that you don't seem to have, for whatever reason.
I don't think we need a service in Delaware County.
That's a needs issue, that's
That's a
not
needs
relevant,
issue,
yeah,
yeah.
we can't deal with that, we can't. do
But I
that.
think as a, Elizabeth McGowan, I think as a region, it's part of our job to know how they perceive they're going to operate in the region. Are they gonna be BLS? Are they gonna be ALS? Are they gonna have?
Back to me.
But BLN, the transfer application, 3777, at the top and the right-hand side, it says they're gonna be BLS.
It does.
Yeah, the application says that, it's on the
Every
form.
application is BLS.
Every,
That makes sense.
yeah. you
The
can't
remap,
transfer.
it's an ALS.
It's- If they wanted to upgrade to ALS, they'd have to do it later. And
My
then
name is
do
Joe
it.
Farrell, New York State
Yes,
Consular
sir.
Health. Well, I didn't do
Oh,
this
very
fitness and competency, it was done by Daniel Clayton, who was the deputy director. I do most of the fitness and competency reviews, state law. I will tell you that we will not do a fitness and competency review unless we have the appropriate paperwork, which includes resumes, education, licenses, and qualifications from other states. This statement is a statement that is done and issued when we feel that we've looked at everything that we have to look at. We determined that this person is fit and competent. That's what this meeting here is today. All these three people in this one company, fit and competent, based on Dan's review of all the documents provided and others that we do on our own. The Bureau has determined that these people and this company are fit and competent. That's what this meeting's about. Not about whether there's a need or necessity, not whether they're going to do a good job or a bad job. Right now, this meeting is about fitness and competence, based on the request from this regional council to do that fitness and competence. If the regional council wants to do their own fitness and competency, they're more than welcome to. Most of them don't. They come to us, they ask us to do it, we do it based on a standard formula, and that's when the letter is written. So as far as whether you got the resumes or business plan or anything else, it's irrelevant to this meeting. It's fitness and competency is what you're looking at.
But the resolution that was read does not talk about fitness and competency, it talks about transfer of operating authority.
It's transfer of operating authority to one agency to another.
I understand, but
Part of
it's,
that process is a fitness and competency review. That's what this is.
but the resolution doesn't, if the vote is on fitness and competency, why is the resolution not on fitness and competency, but it's on transfer of operating authority?
my bet would be that under 3010, the only thing that's required on a transfer of 10% more ownership interest or any such transfer of operating authority is that the applicant has passed a citizen competency.
This is all in accordance with 0606.
Yeah, it just kind of jumps over it. Do you want a resolution that says, in accordance with Article 30, Section 3010, the transfer of operating authority, 10% more of the shares or ownership or control of an entity holding an ambulance operating license. No such license shall be transferred without a finding of fitness and competency. Only under 3010-4 does it say, in the event an operation has ceased operations entirely for more than 30 days, is there any other way? Correct me if I'm wrong. He laughs, but I bring the books. We can read it. You're good, you can print them out. Says, no ambulance service certificate shall be transferable unless the regional council in the department reviews and approves the transfer as follows. Subsection C. Any transfer, assignment, or other disposition of 10% or more of the stock or voting rights thereunder of a corporation, which is the owner of an ambulance certificate, or any transfer, assignment, or other disposition of the stock or voting rights thereunder of such corporation resulting in ownership or control of 10%. Oops, wrong one. D. Any transfer of all or substantially all of the assets of a corporation which owns or operates a certified ambulance service shall be approved based upon the determination that the individual partnership or corporation proposing to obtain all or substantially all of the assets of the corporation is competent and fit to operate. So that's section 3010-2D. It's the only thing you look at. A finding on the owners and the corporation if they're fit and competent. I can give this to Phil if he wants to put it into the motion. There it is. 3010-2D. Transferring the assets. Transfer upon finding fitness and competency.
Any other discussion?
Let me reread the motion. Motion resolved that the application of TC Hudson Valley Ambulance doing business as Transcare to transfer existing service operating authority to Ambulans NY2 LLC is approved. And as Ms. Taddeo just announced, this is as per the appropriate sections of the Public Health Law, including 3010-2D. That motion was made and seconded by Mr. Chase. We've had a discussion period. There being no further discussion, I can now call for the roll call vote according to Department of Health procedures. The vote yes is to approve the transfer of authority. The vote no is to disapprove it. Mr. Early is absent. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Jones votes yes. Patrice Delameter? Patrice Delameter votes yes. Margaret Wilson?
Yes.
Margaret Wilson votes yes. Fulton County, Jennifer Elmendorf is absent. Mr. Farquhar?
Yes.
Mr. Farquhar votes yes. Mr. Van Allen is absent. Michael Tracy?
Yes.
Michael Tracy votes yes. Mr. Souza?
Yes.
Mr. Souza votes yes. Mr. Souza is an alternate, voting in the absence of one of the voting members from Fulton County as per our County. Mrs. Malidi is absent. Mr. Malidi votes yes. Susan Franco is absent. Gary Wicks is absent. Montgomery County, Mr. Pasquarelli.
No.
Mr. Pasquarelli votes no. Mr. Swartz.
No.
Mr. Swartz votes no. Ms. Green.
Yes.
Ms. Green votes yes. Mr. Agresta.
Yes.
Mr. Agresta votes yes. Oswego County, Mr. Chase.
Yes.
Mr. Chase votes yes. Ms. McGowan.
No.
Ms. McGowan votes no. Dr. Markowitz.
No.
Dr. Markowitz votes no. Mr. Wygand is absent. Mr. Kirschman, voting as an alternate.
Votes yes.
Mr. Kirschman votes yes. Gary County, Mr. Brandt.
They left.
We just left.
Mr. Brandt is absent for the vote. Mr. Beavers.
Yes.
Mr. Beavers votes yes. Mr. Hillenbrand is absent. Dr. Funkelois.
Yes.
Dr. Funkelois votes yes. Mr. Louch, voting as an alternate.
No.
Mr. Louch votes no. Mr. Zeke is an advisory non-voting member. Dr. Leinhardt, our remaining voting member, is absent. The results? Yes is 13 votes. No is 5. Yes 13, no is 5. The motion is adopted.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else in transportation, Sean?
No, we have nothing further. Oh, excuse me. We have one other item in transportation standards to note. We have received an application handed to me this afternoon from the Wells Volunteer Ambulance Corps, a request for transportation, request for transfer of operating authority procedure. It involves a name change, and I will have more information on that. I will make sure all the members are made fully aware of it, as well as New York State. But I just received the paperwork today. I haven't had a chance to read it yet.
Anything from State Council?
Real quick, the State Council was Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, so I did not type a report yet, but I will get one to Phil so he can email and distribute it amongst the council members. But just a couple of things that are going to affect us. Obviously, Phil had mentioned earlier the check and inject program. The check and inject. The check and inject program.
Excuse me for just a second, just for the record. I'm just interposed that once the stenographic transcript has begun, it's supposed to continue until the meeting is adjourned. So we can continue.
Has been approved with certain conditions. So there was 3 resolutions. The first of which is to change the scope of practice for EMTs to include the drawing up and administration of intramuscular epinephrine with an approved syringe. So those of you who have the kits, you know the syringe that's in there. CMAC is going to stay with those, but when those run out, nobody knows what they're going to do. So they're going to approve a syringe at that point in time. The second part of that was to change 10-01 and 14-02 to allow syringes to be approved in place of auto injectors. And then the third resolution for that was to continue the demonstration project until a decision is made by the Commissioner of Health. That's so that we didn't have to take all of that stuff out of our trucks. And for those of you who had expired EpiPens, use them. I will forward the statistics of that program in the final report to Phil.
Do they mention how long this may take with the commissioner to?
There's no telling. Some other stuff that DOH is working with Bureau of Narcotic Enforcement for expanding the amount of fentanyl we can carry in the ambulances. B&E has given approval, but I don't think they have specified an amount yet.
I think Lee said they were
Possibly
gonna ask for 400.
Okay.
I can tell you that it has been approved for 400 with up to 600, but until a policy statement comes out, the change cannot occur. When it goes through, everyone will just have to change their plan if they want.
Some other things that they're working on with B&E, they're changing the reporting mechanism for the semi-annual reporting. I guess they're updating the sheets.
That's an error in Dana's report. What's going to happen is there will be one set form, and depending on how many drugs determines how many forms you fill out. It's the same form. It's a little bit more practical in nature.
And then last thing that they're still working on is trying to get the reporting in line so that there's not semi-annual and quarterly reporting. But B&E has not been too cooperative with getting away from quarterly reporting for the ketamine and fentanyl. Training and education, just a couple of things. Instructor level exams, 66 CLIs have taken the test, 88 CICs. The average pass rate is about 75%. And one thing that I think that we need to note in this is that the number of CICs is rapidly declining throughout the state. Currently, the average time to get cards out after an exam is about 12 business days. The CCT tag is working, and we'll hopefully come back with some recommendations on all of that stuff, and I'll include all the statistics in the actual written report that I sent to Phil. The collaborative calls, how many agencies here have participated in the collaborative calls with Department of Health about the changing faces of EMS? Does everybody get the emails? If not, I will forward that information. There's hundreds of providers and EMS leaders on these calls from throughout the state. We're in call number 5. Lee just sent it out. It's going to be for October 6th. It's a conference call, and Steve Kroll, the chair of SEMSCO, hosts that meeting, and it's very enlightening to hear what's going on throughout the state. All of these people are coming with different ideas on where everything should be. The hopes is to create a white paper from it so that we can look at things like Part 800 and Article 30 and see where EMS is going. And like Lou said, EMS is changing. The goal is to not bring patients to the hospital, and that's what we're all in business to do. So we either need to adapt to that change, or we're going to be sitting on the couch. So that's what this call is. They've addressed things like rural EMS, all different things. I will get a schedule out to Phil. They're held on a monthly basis. They last about an hour and a half a month. They are going to start rotating the time so that more people can participate. They're generally held in the morning or at noon, around lunchtime. But there's going to be some evening calls too, so some of the other services that maybe strictly volunteer can also participate. The controlled substance revisions, they are through. The state is still receiving applications from providers, and they are technically not enforcing it yet. However, there will come a time in which regional councils are going to have to force that issue with agencies that do not comply with the CON, or do not comply with the narcotics licensing. So be prepared. I don't think we have a huge problem in our area, but be prepared, we may have to deal with it. And Beth, certainly you can jump in here.
You're hitting them all.
Any
Keep going.
time. A lot of this stuff is kind of statistical information, but the other thing that regions and regional councils have to do is Dana and Dan call it the circling the drain effect. Is looking at these agencies. There are several agencies in CON matters throughout the state, so much so that it's really bogging them down with consolidations and municipal CONs, because services can no longer continue to provide the services that are required because of financial hardship. And as a regional council, we have the responsibility to see and be in touch with our agencies and help agencies that that may not be able to make connections to where they need to be, to make sure that that service is provided to those areas. So DOH, Dana and Dan in particular, if you know of these services, please bring them to the regional council. Maybe we're just the mediator and the start of a conversation. Or maybe we need to look at the whole thing. Maybe we need to actually get DOH involved to make sure that the services are going to continue to be provided in those areas. So if you know of any, again, that's what one of the things this regional council has been tasked to look at. And the other thing is we really need to, as a regional council, we need to come together for the peer committee. The winners have been approved for any awards, New York State awards. They're going to be announced at Vital Signs. But they had very, very poor rate of nominations.
Initially, it was only 8 regions that submitted nominations for the awards.
So I do think it's important in recognizing EMS providers, and we have a ton of them, and there's a lot of them out there that do a really great job. I think as a regional council, we need to do a better job in getting those applications out to agencies and maybe nominating somebody for those awards, because again, it's important and it's really a great honor to be recognized at a state level for the services that we provide at low pay and with no thanks, 99% of the time. The next meeting really is until January 10th and 11th. Again, I will type all of this stuff up, and if Beth wants to add anything.
There has been a law that has passed both the Senate and Assembly to require volunteer and proprietary agencies to screen their applicants against sex offender registries. It's awaiting the signature of the governor. And the move-over laws have been expanded to include private vehicles on the scene with visible emergency lights. That doesn't mean people have to pull over for you while you're responding, but if you are on the scene with visible emergency lights, the move-over law should apply. And lastly, I went to the protocol rollout planning meeting, and they're talking about multiple simulation videos, podcasts, self-study, an exam that will be maintained at the regional program agency that has a question bank with randomized questions and answers so that no person gets the same test as the person next to them. The apps for Android and iPhone are in progress. They're going to update the current apps, then they're going to provide links within the app. There's 159 times in the protocols that another protocol is referenced. So instead of having to go back to the index, you'll be able to touch the link and go to the next protocol. So say you start with stroke and you realize you have hypoglycemia, you just touch the hypoglycemia link and it takes you to that protocol. The third part of the app update will be a pediatric drug dosage weight-based calculator within the app. They are working on videos with Laerdal. They've offered to help produce the videos. They're based in Wappinger Falls. And the videos are airway management, RSI, childbirth, avulse tooth, double sequential defibrillation, eye injury and exposure, hemorrhage control, pre-existing vascular devices, pre-existing LVADs and automatic transport vents. And they're looking to get all of this together. A lot of it will be self-study. And they're saying that they're not recommending it being used as CME education, as the CIC won't be there to help with all of it. And they're looking to have it, the cutover date, January 1.
Okay, anything else from state?
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you. Okay, regional program update.
Nothing to report, sir.
Okay, year program update. REMAC report.
REMAC report, in the absence of Dr. Fisher, Dr. Leinhardt, who was excused, Dr. Fisher, who left to go back to work, I'll just quickly outline this, and then the full report obviously will be in the minutes that will be presented to all the membership and anybody else who's interested next week. And our minutes are always available on our website, as is the webcasting of each session. New business today, they approved the minutes of the May 19th REMAC meeting, and then we were informed about the Jefferson Rescue Squad's approved controlled substance operational plan. There was an updated list of AAREMS controlled substance agencies presented to DOH, and as per Mary Raymond's request, a letter received regarding from an ALS first responder agency regarding whether or not, if they drop back to AEMT level, they had to have a controlled substance license. This is being investigated by the state right now. Springfield Fire Department ALS responder unit was approved for BLS Narcan use. Dr. Joseph Luz was approved as the agency medical director for the Schoharie County Critical Care Team. There was a fascinating discussion on on-site scoring results, whether they can be used for credentialing or not. And the REMAC physicians approved using them for credentialing purposes, pending a letter, pending something in writing from Lee Byrne. There seems to be some discussion at the health department level about that. We're just waiting for a letter from her, and then we're going to go forward. Joe Farrell gave us an update on agency compliance with DOH recertification and/or inspection, and on the status currently of our AAREMS BLS-FR agency recertifications. And I presented some regional statistics Dr. Markowitz had requested about the use of aspirin for chest pain patients, and also for the use of CPAP in the region for last year and to date this year. There was no executive session necessary, and the REMAC adjourned at 11:15, and will next meet on the third Thursday of November. That's the REMAC report, sir.
County reports. Hamilton?
Davis is our county EMS coordinator. I'll ask her to make a report. Surprised you, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
You can get it later.
The only thing our EMS council meetings, they kind of lay dormant for quite a few years, and now they've really picked up since February. We're getting a lot of attendance and a lot of good ideas, so that's the main thing that we're focused on.
Fulton?
Jack just left, but, anything going on? Nothing's going on.
He's coming back, isn't he?
No, go to court.
Oh, okay. Montgomery?
Nothing new.
Actually, you know, I did want to bring one thing up.
I just asked you if you wanted to.
So, Howard and I have been talking, obviously, as a core sponsor, we have heard in Montgomery and Fulton counties that there's never any courses, there's never any training, never any education. FM had went dormant for some time, relinquished the certificate. We had applied to become an educational center, and we did really well initially. I guess we're, and Howard and myself, are kind of looking for some feedback, because we're running the courses and we're running the education, and yet we're still getting poor attendance. And financially, you know, we all have numbers that we need to meet to break even. Running EMT courses, while us as an agency, we have continued to do it for 5, 6, 8 people, mainly for recruitment purposes only. And at some point, isn't going to be practical to do just when we're at full staff. So, what are the thoughts out there? You know, is the education too far? Are we not offering the right classes? Are we looking at more advanced classes? I know that we're talking about AMT courses being held at FM in the spring, possibly. Are we flooding the market?
I can probably be even a little bit more blunt. When it comes to a financial plan on behalf of SUNY Cobleskill, we got the phone call from FM saying, please take us over, we need help. And we had the ability to teach in those counties already, so we reached out and said, sure, we'll commit to do this for a year, but we really need community and county support. And this is the second semester that we're running both an EMT original and a refresher. Last semester was under 10 students. This semester is under 10 students combined. Not to speak for Tom, but I will. He had 4 classes that were submitted to the state for this similar time frame and canceled 3 because of 0 enrollment.
And one of which that I canceled was actually requested to run the course in the western end of the county, and we did not get, not even an inquiry.
And his last class has 5 students in it. So I'm kind of at a loss because personally, I really wanted this to work. I still want this to work for Fulton and Montgomery counties, but for years, at least the 6 or 7 that I've been out here, all I've heard is we don't have EMS education in Fulton, Montgomery County. We need EMS education in Fulton, Montgomery County. It's here, it's been advertised, and currently I've even gotten our college, SUNY Cobleskill, to allow us to continue to do it at another college without charging college tuition. I don't know how much longer that's going to last either, but right now it is free education if you're with an EMS agency, and there are still not people taking them up. We are operating at a loss. We're doing it because we committed to trying it for a year. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to do this.
And to take that even a step further, is GAVAC is offering all the ABC classes for the ALS providers, BLS core content. It has been put out there. I typed a thing up. I went to Jack to go to the Fulton County EMS Council. I don't know if it did. It's been handed out to people, and yet we get nobody. And yet it's continued that they need education. It's out there. I don't know. And we're only charging what we need for to break even. What do we do?
Is it a matter of jobs in the area are non-existent? Because I know, again, I'm speaking for GAVAC, but I know you guys are understaffed as it is.
I'll buy into that.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of jobs being non-existent.
Right.
We've got jobs.
Right.
We just don't have people who are willing to put the effort into taking the class.
And, you know, I was talking with Mary a little bit earlier on the break too, and we've also witnessed a lot of what I would term non-academic attrition. People who get into a course and go, we want to be an EMT, and then find out that you actually have to put effort into it, whether you take it with GAVAC or you take it with the fire department in the back hall of a church or wherever you take it at college. It's a college level course. It is work.
Oh yeah, I can attest to that.
And in a climate of no child left behind, the child will be left behind in this class if they don't do the work.
And to speak to stuff earlier, you know, both of us, both course sponsorships, are doing some hybrid material already. We're trying to make it as user-friendly as possible. What we can't do is offer one-on-one courses where you want them when you want them. And I'm just frustrated. I'm saddened by it because I really think that unless something changes soon, I don't think either one of us is going to be able to continue what we're doing, because EMS education placed at in Fulton Montgomery Community Counties is not a primary mission for either one of our businesses. We're doing it because we think it's the right thing to do and we want to help.
I think I can speak for Hamilton County, the residents in Hamilton County. We travel to FM or Cobleskill, it's a long distance, an hour or more to FM, so they're volunteering to, part of the ambulance corps, and they've got to come up with this amount of time for the course that they're traveling to. And the younger people, they just don't have the time, they're working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet.
So how do we fix that? Because I agree with you. How do we fix that?
What is the resolution? Because we've tried daytime classes, nighttime classes, weekends.
Right.
What avenue do we take now? You don't mind catering a little bit, but you can't cater completely.
Because what I don't want to see, and honestly, after speaking with Tom, I got his permission to send a note to both this Andy Johnson at the State Department of Health and Phil to let both the state and the region know that this is where this is going, and we're kind of at a point of frustration here, because unless something changes soon, I don't see where I'm going to be allowed to continue to run courses at a loss.
What about running one course a year instead of both semesters?
Tom and I were talking about that. There might be something to that. The trouble becomes you might be able to pick up enough to run it. You might not, based on timing. If you put a survey out, which we've done a handful of them through SurveyMonkey lately, you get a bunch of people that says, oh, well, I don't want to drive more than 15 minutes. That's completely unrealistic.
Well, here's the thing too, is you said the semester is 15 weeks at college?
Currently.
15 weeks to take an EMT class to go get a job making $12.50 an hour? Where I could open an application at the grocery store and get a job for $12 an hour with maybe 2 hours of training and start the next week?
Sir, I am the choir that you're preaching to.
Signs hanging in the side roof. Cashier, $12 an hour?
Amen, Chief Agresta.
Unfortunately, it's not, a county or a regional wide problem. It's statewide. It's actually nationwide.
It is by far worse in these 2 counties right now.
It is.
And what I don't want to see is this fall apart. What I further don't want to see is that 2 years from now, when both of us stop running classes in these counties, somebody turn around and go, well, they gave up on us.
Or they didn't bother.
Or they didn't try, or they weren't here.
It doesn't matter what you do. People are going to say you didn't try, you weren't here, and you didn't do enough. And when you offer the courses, you can put it in their fire station, because you put out a SurveyMonkey and then you put it in their fire station and you only get 3 people because you've asked too much, you've required too much. We can't lower the requirements of the EMT course and ask them to go out and perform these skills. It's not fair. It's not fair to the public.
I agree.
So we're all in a catch-22. We're all in the same catch-22 of canceling classes due to lack of interest and then people backlashing on us. That's just the way it is.
I think it's a big problem hospital-wide. I unfortunately spent a week in hospital recently and talked to a lot of staff members. Everybody's short. Nobody has enough help. Healthcare in general is being cut down so much by reimbursement from Medicare, from Medicaid, so that hospitals don't have staffing. I think it's everywhere in healthcare that relies on government funding to make ends meet. And who wants to get up in the middle of the night and go on calls and get exposed to all this nasty stuff and so on? I think our whole volunteerism in the United States is decreasing tremendously, and I don't know how you reverse that. I mean, I think the first problem, if we could get government to do something about paying hospitals, paying ambulance service and so on, so that they could come up with better salaries, would be a lovely thing. How do you do the volunteerism stuff? I'm not sure, because nobody wants to volunteer anymore.
Can I speak for Fulton County? I know Fulton County, we're having a bigger issue right now is with CMEs, getting CMEs with the people that we have. I'm actually working on a program for that. Now, I don't know if getting some type of CME program in will actually help get new people to take the EMT courses so they know that
it'll be easier to keep their certification up.
We offer 2 CME courses, one of which is an 8-hour day every month.
It's
And-
free.
And it's free.
For everybody.
They're free.
I know that, but we talk about, travel for 15 minutes. I can tell you on the west end of the county, specifically, I have 9 EMTs in my department, and most of them aren't gonna travel to Amsterdam for that, because,
Mark, can I ask, what are you using CME for a purpose for? For recertification?
The recertification.
Or education? Are you
Both.
using it
Well,
purely
both.
for certification, or are you using it to challenge and educate your employees?
both.
Because if it's just
It should
recertification,
be for both.
it should. It's not always, and that's, I guess, why I'm asking. So if the primary goal of the provider is to recertify, I'd encourage that they look at things like an EMT refresher course that has a challenge component in it, because it's often quicker, and then instead of driving numerous times to numerous CMEs, they can do this once at a PSE test out and a written exam, and then take the state exam.
I agree. The thing that we're trying to do right now is we're gonna have 3 different locations in the county where they're gonna have somebody come in and teach at that location. So we're trying to cut down is the transport time, because these people don't wanna drive. And as sad as it is, they don't wanna drive.
You already have that instructor lined up?
Yes, right now I'm looking, my actual, first responder units are buying into a program. I'm actually looking for a place where to put the money and to pay the instructor. So that hopefully is gonna happen, I'm hoping by the end of the year.
So you have CICs lined up for that, though?
Yes.
Oh,
I think, as I stated earlier, one of the things that we need to look at, we need to really see if we can push push that direction, is to get the state to allow more online training. I think that would improve it a lot. The other thing is,
You can apply for 100% online research through which will do an agency.
you can, but how many agencies know about that?
we're currently, and this is purely a project, it's nothing official, working on a 100% didactic portion, EMT refresher online, with some labs that'll probably be 2 full-day labs outside of it for a refresher for EMT. But nothing has been approved, nothing's even been forwarded, it's pure concept, but that's not right now. And our concern right now, what drives this conversation, is specifically the areas around Fulton and Montgomery counties.
Can I ask another thing? I don't know if this would help or not, but maybe your 2 organizations coming into like at least the first responder units and talking to them at maybe one of their regular monthly meetings, giving them the opportunity. I don't know if,
My fear is that the way that this is set up right now is a spiral effect. So you have a CIC that's going to come in and do all of your research, but that person is never going to run a basic original class.
Right.
And
I agree. I agree
we can't support 6 people classes without some sort of other supplement to that. So that would be a perfect example on where we could come into play and provide those services and still be in existence for next fall when the 3 fire departments in the western ends of whatever county need to have 11 new firefighters trained to the EMT level. There's not going to be those classes without doing that. And I understand that everybody's looking, for the easiest way and the cheapest way out. But we have to think, if I buy a $10 gallon of paint or I buy a $40 gallon of paint, I'm not painting my house in 6 months, I might be painting my house in 2 years.
Okay.
I don't know what the answer is here, because, I'm hearing that down in other counties all around us, even counties that are as small as Fulton, Montgomery, they're not having this problem. So what are they doing?
What do you mean, who's not having this problem?
Well, here, Western Turnpike or whatever had 20 students or 18 or capped it off at 18 and.
I have not heard of
Is
a
that-
single program that's.
You like that problem?
Yeah,
That's not true.
I don't know if I'm
The different
Yeah, I'm
geographical.
willing to try to do that. That's.
Paramedic
Okay.
enrollment's fine.
Let's, this is something that we're not gonna solve here today, but we all need to, you know, think about it, and like I said earlier, contact your legislatures, okay? Go to your county board of supervisors and say, this is what we need. Maybe instead of we see all these I Love New York commercials on TV, maybe we could see some stuff on TV saying, you know, we need some volunteers. We need you to step up and help your community. Maybe that's something we need to push to our legislators and see what we can do with that. You know, it's something that we all need to think about. And like I said, it's not going to get any better.
Well, just short term, we will be applying for a spring EMT original and refresher at FMCC again on the requested evening 2-day-a-week schedule. But we're going to put an enrollment cap on it. I guess a reverse enrollment cap. It's going to have to be a certain amount of time prior, an enrolled class of either 10 to 12, and probably a month out from the start from the class. If we don't have those people enrolled, we're going to kill the class, because I can't pay an instructor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Harry.
Nothing.
Sigo.
Our classes have started, our countywide classes, but they're so recent that I can't tell you what we're running for enrollment figures right now.
I know I talked to Kevin and they canceled the CNC, the CC class.
That is true. I think they're going to look at trying to do that first of the year again. So,
In Delaware.
Here we go. Brian and Dust started into Delaware's report today.
As Lou mentioned, this will be his last meeting representing Delaware County. So we did come up with a plaque for him on behalf of Delaware County. It states, Delaware County EMS Advisory Board thanks Louis Jones for his countless hours of service to EMS in Delaware County and his outstanding contribution to AAREMS as representative on behalf of Delaware County EMS Advisory Board.
Thank you. Okay. Well, again, thank you very much. It's been my honor and my pleasure. Whole business, we have a couple of things to do under whole business. We, usually we do this in the June meeting, but the one thing that we had is a request for salary increase.
Cost of living only.
This cost of living for our employees.
It's a 2%, it comes to just 2.2% actually. And a 25% an hour increase on our hourly wage to $13.25. That's for our fee-for-service personnel. Every once in a while we do hire somebody to do a fee-for-service thing like shredding a whole bunch of continuation forms to come in with our paper PCRs, that type of thing. That's a few hours per year, but we have to have a budget slot available.
It was 2.2.
Comes to 2.2%.
2.2%. We need a motion for this, we have a second. Motion is made, seconded to approve the wage increase for AAREMS employees at 2.2%. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained?
I will abstain.
Now, I don't know who Jack left to do
I have it.
He left Jill. Okay, Jack left Jill.
Jack left Jill, so I knew the day was gonna come, you know?
So at this time, I will turn it over to the nominating committee.
Okay, Trish, myself, and Jack were given the task to do the nomination committee. We have people that have showed interest. I'll give you the 3 names of those people that have shown interest and what their interest is, and if anybody else has any nominations from the floor, we'll take them. For chair, we have Tom Pasquarelli. Vice chair was Sydney Chase, and secretary Phil Malidi. Is there any additions? Okay, no additions. I guess we'll ask for a vote per counting, Phil, if you wanna.
You gotta ask it 3 times.
Nominations.
Are there any nominations from the floor?
Times 3.
This is my 3rd time. Are there any nominations from the floor?
Move to close the polls.
Yes. Can we close the polls?
I'll second the motion to close the polls.
You wanna add to that, Secretary Catherine?
And ask the secretary cast 1 ballot for the slate.
Motion made to close the polls. The secretary casts 1 ballot for the slate of Officer Clinton. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed or abstained? Good. Thank you.
Let's go. Congratulations, everybody.
Mr. Chairman, before we close, I have one further motion that I would like to make, and I'm a motion kid today because we had that June meeting that we had to back up on. But it would be a shame to see our outgoing chairman leave us on any kind of a permanent basis because of his dedication, his friendship, and his obvious expertise in the field of EMS. Therefore, I nominate Lou Jones to be an advisory member to this council. As per bylaws, I can do that. Anyone can. Advisory members are non-voting. We have an advisory member currently, Mr. Zeke, who has served us faithfully and well in that capacity over the years, and I'm sure that Lou would be a most valuable addition to our list of advisory members. So I hereby nominate him as an advisory member to this council, and I ask for a second.
I would agree with that assessment. So, and it's great, Lou, there's no term limit.
So I would ask, I would usurp the chairman's privilege, and I would ask for a vote on this. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, I'm voting too. Thank you. Okay, Steve, yours.
And I just wanted to say one other thing. Over the years, I've